Hey folks, it's Matt once again. Welcome back to another Stallone review. And this time it is Nighthawks. Film not many people mention, but it's a pretty damn good flick starring Sylvester Stallone, Billy D. Williams, and Rutger Hauer. I mean, come on, so you got John Rambo, you got Lando Calrissian, and you got The Hitcher, all in the same movie. And you got Persis Khambatta, who is the bald woman in Star Trek The Motion Picture. And Joe Spinell, the maniac himself, as a lieutenant. Now, it's directed by Bruce Malmuth, who he did a Steven Seagal film. I think it was Hard to Kill. I have to look that up real quick. Came out in 1981. Unfortunately, it did not do well. Well, it seems like it made back its money because it says it cost $5 million, but it made $19 million. So I would assume that's a hit, but I have a feeling they wanted it to be bigger than that. But it doesn't seem like it flopped, like it lost money. But yeah, this guy went on to do Hard to Kill with Steven Seagal, which I reviewed when I did the Seagal Marathon. I think that's a fun movie. And then he did Pentathlon with Dolph Lundgren, which is a flick. Now, I know this movie had a lot of problems during the making of the flick. There was a director, I think it's the same guy who did some Disney films like The Black Hole, but then he got let go. And from what I understand, the original idea behind this, it was going to be the French Connection 3, where it was going to be Gene Hackman's Popeye Doyle teamed up with a wisecracking cop, maybe Richard Pryor. But then Hackman wasn't sure on making a third film, and the idea was scrapped. And then they had, I think his name was Gary Nelson, who did The Black Hole, but he got kicked off like a week or so into production, and they got this guy Bruce Malmuth. I think for one day Stallone directed the film because Bruce Malmuth had to take some time to get there. And I know there were some problems between these two guys, Stallone and Rutger Hauer. Apparently, when the film was finished, Stallone went into the editing and wanted to cut some Rutger Hauer footage out. And I will be honest, I did a review of The Specialist, trying to pre-record these. And a guy named Jack Craven told me that the same thing happened with The Specialist, where some of James Woods' stuff was cut out because Stallone wanted more screen time and didn't want to be outshined by James Woods in The Specialist or by Rutger Hauer in this movie. And yeah, I mean, it sounds like a dick move. It does. But I mean, I know Van Damme kind of did the same thing because the first cut of Hard Target, not the ones on the work print you see, but the very, very early ones, it was more Lance Henriksen than Van Damme. And when it gets to that, I understand why, because at the end of the day, when I'm going to see these kind of movies, I want to see more of the hero than the villain. That's not saying you have to cut all of his scenes out or anything, but when it's more the villain than the hero, I can understand when that happens. So I do understand that kind of thinking. And, I still thought there was a good chunk of Rutger Hauer in this, but so I can understand that type of thinking, but on the other end, when you say that, it does sound like a dick move, but I'm just saying I do understand the thinking in that. I really do. But it'd be nice to see deleted scenes or an uncut version, because I know this was cut by the MPA, including, or especially the ending, where Rutger Hauer gets shot twice, but you could tell there's at least 4 or 5 gunshots on his body. And I know there's a new Shell Factory Blu-ray, but when I found out it was not the uncut version, or there was really no deleted scenes of that nature, then I looked at the features and it didn't sound like much. No interviews with Stallone or Billy D. Williams or Rutger Hauer. I felt no need to get the Blu-ray. I'm fine with this DVD. And like I was saying, I know Rutger Hauer and Stallone had a lot of fights. And also Rutger Hauer went through a lot of pain, both physically because a squib fucked up and fucked up his body because the squib went off wrong. There's one thing saying that a cable was pulled too hard and he got hurt. And then people saying that Stallone told him to do that, which, again, I wasn't there, so I don't know if that's true or not, but that's one of the things said. And also Rutger Hauer, his mom, and I think one of his best friends died during the making of this. So, yeah, Rutger Hauer was going through a lot, so I can see why he probably doesn't talk about this film a lot. It seems like a really bad experience. Again, his mom and one of his best friends fighting with Stallone, scenes that were cut out. So I can understand that. But I mean, despite all that hassle going on, and also with the editing, I know there's more scenes between Stallone and this girlfriend he has, played by Lindsay Wagner, and Stallone was upset about that. Does Universal cut some stuff out of that relationship? But despite all that, I still really enjoy the film. I think it's a pretty damn good flick. I mean, it's 1981 when this came out, but it's a 70s cop flick. I like Stallone's look, with that Serpico type of look to him, and at times he wears a pair of glasses in the flick. I think that's a great look to Sly. I think he pulled the role off very well. Rutger Hauer, as a friend of mine says, he could play a great good guy, like in Blind Fury, Wanted Dead or Alive, Split Second, or he could play a really great bad guy, like The Hitcher, like in this movie. And I do feel bad for Rutger Hauer for going through all that hell because, a squib fucking up, hurting you, a cable being pulled, fucking you up. Maybe it was Sly. Again, I can't say it was because I wasn't there. Your mom and your friend dying during the making of it, stuff you did being cut out. I feel bad for Rutger Hauer, but despite all that, he pulled it off and did a great job. He's again, he could play a great good guy. Because I love Blind Fury. I love Wanted Dead or Alive. Split Second is a favorite of mine. And then you look at The Hitcher, and that's an awesome movie. Blade Runner, of course. And he's a great villain. So it's a great hero, a great villain getting together. Billy D. Williams, nice to see him in there. And other than Lando Calrissian, it's nice to see him play a different character. He did a great job here as Stallone's partner. Stallone, his character, his cop usually works in decoy. So he'll be the decoy for muggers or other bad guys, and then they can get to drop on them. For example, at the beginning of the film, he's dressed in drag, so these muggers think they're going to fuck up a woman. He takes this mask off. He's like, "Come on, He-Man, I got the hots for you." Chases on after a guy. "Come on, badass. Come on, get me, badass." Punches the shit out of him. Fun little scene there. Meanwhile, in London, there's these bombings, and Rutger Hauer, he's a guy who'll go into a shop, get some perfume from a girl, talk sweetly to her, come out and blow it up without missing a beat. And it's one of those movies where I wonder if Sly was inspired by Serpico, not because of the plot, but it, it's one of those scenes where Stallone, after this, would not be labeled in the same vein of an actor of, say, an Al Pacino or Robert De Niro. And of course, Al Pacino was in Serpico. And after Rocky, and then some films that didn't do well, Fist, which I liked the first half of it, Paradise Alley. And this is still him, thinking of himself as an actor, as he should. I do think he's a great actor. And this was sort of his take on those films like Al Pacino and all these other guys were doing. The cop movie with that kind of look. And then when this film wasn't the big blockbuster like a Rocky, it doesn't seem like it flopped. It seemed like it made some money, but probably not as much money as Universal wanted. So they probably deemed it a disappointment. Then, you had to go back to Rocky. And I love the Rocky films, but most of the other films when he was going other than Rocky, they were not doing so well, or they, quote, underperformed. It wasn't until First Blood, which he finally had a movie that didn't underperform, that actually did very well, and went on from there into the 80s. I mean, technically, this is the first film he did of the '80s. This was 1981, and I don't really know where I'm going with that whole thing. It's just, in a way, I'm glad where he went with his trajectory of his career because I got a lot of films I love. I mean, the '80s era brought the Rambo films, which I love. Over the Top, Tango and Cash, Cobra. I mean, I love these movies. Lock Up. But I know there are a certain amount of people that wishes he didn't do those kind of films and stuck with films like Paradise Alley or even Nighthawks and so forth. So I like both. Well, I didn't like Paradise Alley, but I like the first half of Fist. I love Rocky. I like The Lords of Flatbush. I really enjoy this film, but I also love his work in the '80s and some of the '90s, like Cliffhanger, Demolition Man. So there's a lot of stuff on both ends I enjoy. I like the scene where Sly and Billy D. Williams bust this dope deal. And Billy D. Williams is getting really intense with this guy, saying, this is the shit that kills people. And then, it should blow your brains out. And if I ever see you again, I'm going to kill you. And you have a little bit of the Sly and Lindsay Wagner relationship, which, again, from what I understand, a lot of it was cut out. I I have to wonder, maybe that was for a good reason. That I wonder if you had more of that, it would slow the film down. Because the film is already an hour and 40 minutes. So I don't know. Maybe that was the right thing. Haven't seen the footage, so can't confirm or deny that. But sometimes a movie doesn't need that much of that kind of stuff. Yeah. I thought Sly worked well with Billy D. Williams. They have a little bit of a friendly relationship. That at one point, when this patrolman fucks up their cover and they're walking away, and Billy D. Williams throws something down, and Sly's like, "Don't litter. Hey, you littered." And the gist of the story, Rutger Hauer, he gets found out in London. He gets some plastic surgery. He comes to New York and he does more bombings. He meets this girl in a nightclub, sets up at her place. And meanwhile, you have this other guy played by Nigel Davenport, who's from London, to teach Sly, Billy D. Williams, and others about terrorism and how to think like a terrorist. And how they got to, if you see him, you gotta kill him, you gotta do this, do that. And I like the Sly's character speaks up and goes, "Well, you train us to be assassins, and I didn't sign up to kill people." And Nigel Davenport's like, "Come on, man, stop this, patrol police academy BS." And later on, tells Sly about, well, when you were in the war, you have about over 50 confirmed kills. And Sly goes, "Well, that was war." And Nigel Davenport goes, "Well, you know what? When the time comes, I have a feeling you're going to know. And you're going to be okay with pulling that trigger." Which leads to the end of the film, which gets that moment where Sly is going to pull that trigger. And I thought the guy Nigel Davenport, he did a good job acting-wise. Joe Spinell, I think I sent Rocky... I think I sent one of the videos that maybe Rocky 2 was the last time they worked together, but I believe it was this film that was the last time Joe Spinell and Stallone worked together. And speaking of which, I know one time, because Joe Spinell and Stallone were friends, I know there was one picture I saw that Sylvester Stallone wore a t-shirt that had the Maniac poster on it. I swear I saw that one time. I remember seeing it. It was Stallone at like a Cannes Film Festival or some festival or something, and he was wearing the poster of the Maniac from 1980 on his T-shirt, which I'm guessing he did that because he was friends with Joe Spinell. I could never find that picture ever again. But I know him and Sly, I guess, things just didn't work out, and Joe Spinell wasn't in any more Stallone films. And I think Nighthawks was the last of that. I don't know what happened, but it was always nice to see Joe Spinell. Again, he's playing a lieutenant here, sort of the boss of Sly and Billy D. Williams. But the stewardess is found dead, and they were looking at where the places she was at, and they get to this nightclub, and Stallone and Billy D are at this disco, this nightclub. And this moment works in, I mean, it's a good moment, and it works in the movie trailer where Stallone looks and finds Rutger, and they both have this stare down with each other. And Sly goes, Wolfgar! Rutger's character's name, Wolfgar, and then Wolfgar shoots. But if you think about it, it's a really stupid idea for Sly to do that, because when he yells that, he gets out of the way and Rutger shoots a poor innocent person in the back. That was meant for Sly. And I'm thinking, well, why didn't he just pounce on Rutger? Like before Rutger saw him, or even when Rutger was turned around, Sly went up and pounced on him, put handcuffs on him, instead of standing there and going, Wolfgar! I'm like, is that what it was for Expendables 3 when Barney, Stallone's character, went Stone Banks? He was having a flashback to Wolfgar. It's like, I gotta look at the bad guy instead of shooting him or pouncing on him. I'm just gonna stand there and yell his name out and give my position and get someone shot. So, I mean, again, it's a good moment between the two characters, and it's a good moment for a trailer, but it's just when you think about it, you go, well, that was really stupid of Sly's character to do that. Again, instead of just grabbing him, pouncing him, shoot him in the leg, shoot him in the balls, shoot him in the ass. He yells Wolfgar and then moves out of the way, and then Rutger shoots someone in the back. I'm like, wow, that was really stupid of you, Sly. What the fuck? But at the end, this foot chase leads to a subway tunnel, leads into a subway car, at least to Billy D. Williams getting his face cut. I love Stallone's delivery. You're fucking dead! You motherfucker! You're fucking dead! Love that. It's actually this scene here. I thought that worked very well, and I think Stallone did a great job, as did Billy D. Williams. I'm glad they didn't do the typical partner gets killed, because that's what happens a lot in these movies. The partner gets killed. Look at a lot of Dirty Harry films, except maybe the Deadpool, but other Dirty Harry films, his partner gets killed. Other cop movies, the partner would be killed. Except, of course, if you talk about stuff like Lethal Weapon and buddy cop movies. So I'm glad they didn't go that route. It was just this really nasty slash on the guy's face. So I'm glad they didn't go with the more cliche route of the partner getting killed. They're at this place to watch United Nations personnel, and the guy who trained him, Nigel Davenport, he gets shot by Persis Khambatta. And then you have this scene where Rutger Hauer and Persis take over this tram car. And this pretty decent little stunt the Slide does, where he has to rappel up into the tram car to get this baby that Rutger gives him, and rappels down. And at least one to the other, and Slide comes up with this plan to have this little tape recorder of this guy talking about Persis Khambatta to get her so pissed she gets into the way of Billy D's sniper, pops you right in the head. Nice effect. And one thing leads to another, and I really enjoyed the ending to this, where you think it's Lindsay Wagner, you think it's her in the home, and it's going to go with, Rutger's going to terrorize her, or Rutger's going to kill her, and then it's going to get Stallone and him in a one-on-one. No. You gotta remember, Stallone's character is in decoy. And we see him in a few times, including the beginning in Drag. So I thought that was a nice setup to here, where Sly turns around and it's him. He takes off his wig, nice stare down between the two, and shoots him. And again, in the movie it's 2 times, but in reality, when they filmed it, you can tell there's about 4 or 5 shots on Rutger's chest. There's at least like one, there's like 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom, and there might have been a 5th one. And they cut that down. I'm guessing the MPA asked them to, which is a shame. Because I think it would have been, because it is a continuity gaffe. I'm like, okay, you shoot him twice, but you could tell there's more hits on him. And I wish we could see the full 5 or 6 bullet barrage. And I wish there was an uncut version of this, but apparently that's never going to happen, which fucking sucks. But Nighthawks, it's a Stallone film. Again, not many people talk about it, but I think it's a great, again, even though it's 1981, it's a great 70s cop movie. It's that gritty feel of a 70s cop movie. The cast do a great job. Stallone does a wonderful job as the lead guy. Billy D. Williams, nice to see him in a role other than Lando Calrissian. Rutger Hauer is a great bad guy. I'm not sure about the music by Keith Emerson. I'm kind of iffy on it. I would not say it's a memorable piece of score. I think it's an iffy kind of musical score. But it was a simple story told well. Simple story of a cop going against this terrorist guy with great acting support around them, capable direction, moved at a decent enough pace, and just it was nice to see this kind of era of cop movies starring Stallone. And I like the look he has in this movie. He should have used that in some other films. And it was just great to see Sylvester Stallone and Rutger Hauer play off each other. And great, they don't have tons of scenes of them face to face together, but it's like, oh great, I get to see Stallone, which is a great good guy. Then I get to see Rutger Hauer, who's always an intimidating bad guy, in my opinion. And it's not big, huge, over the top explosions and action sequences. So if you're going for that, you're not going to get that. It's that gritty 70s style filmmaking, and I think it works well in this flick. Although I know it's going to sound stupid, what does Nighthawks actually mean? I mean, it's the title of the movie, and I like the ring to it, Nighthawks. But what does Nighthawks actually mean? It's one of those things that I'm like, I don't really know what Nighthawks. They're at night and they watch people like a hawk, I guess. But I mean, if someone knows the terminology, if there's a different terminology for it, other than that, feel free to let me know in the comments. I'm always willing to learn. Believe me, I don't know much of anything, so. But it's a good, this says it here, it's a good cat and mouse thriller. I think that's the best way to put it. It's a good cat and mouse thriller. Yeah. And if you have never seen it, I think it's well worth a look. If you're a Stallone fan, you've never seen this, you can see sort of a different kind of Sly movie. It's a good one. I think it's a very solid one. So, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.